Hello and welcome to Mostly Vintage Cameras. This is, or was, the Analogue showcase at the recent photography show at the NEC in Birmingham. Here's a few products I saw that caught my eye. The soda can in particular, run by a splendid gentleman called Sam, is a single-use pinhole camera which you bolt onto the side of your house for a period of weeks or months, and over that period of time it captures the sun's passage across the sky, and as the months and weeks pass by it obviously rises and falls and you end up with a solargraph. They also do them in bright colours, and their new product is this, the Puck, which is a reusable pinhole camera, also intended to capture solargraph images. Moving on to little vintage photography, this is a rather lovely company that goes around educating people. Let's have a word what they were doing at the show. Hello.
Hi.
Can you tell me what you're doing here? It all looks a bit technical.
Oh, it's actually a very, very simple technique. So I'm Rachel Brewster-Wright and I run Little Vintage Photography, and today I'm making some pop-up exhibition demonstrations in the cyanotype process. So we mix two chemicals together, ferric ammonium citrate and potassium ferricyanide. As you can see, I've put them together in a little box here, and what I'm going to do now is coat it onto paper, and that will have objects placed on top and it will go under a UV light. And the UV light we would usually use might be something like the sun, but today what we're going to use is Fred, my mini sun, which is a UV lamp that I have behind me. So I run workshops and demonstrations and things in all the different analogue and alternative processes, and I'm here at the photography show creating a pop-up exhibition so that people can create their own.
Fantastic. And if people can't get to one of your demonstrations to try it sort of live, is there an at-home solution for them?
Yes, absolutely. So I have some kits that I hand measure, hand cut and hand coat, so they're ready to go. They have the chemicals on them already, so you can take them anywhere, you can post them to people, use them as gifts, and you can find them on my website, littlevintagephotography.co.uk.
Fantastic, thank you very much for your time. Do have a good day. Also at the show was one of my favourite retailers, MS Hobbies, and I want to have a word with Paul from MS Hobbies about this Minox Fuji mount lens.
The Minox 35 Minotaur lens was the sharpest and highest performing compact lens of its generation. Introduced 1975 until 1994, this lens had an enviable image quality, which until now you could only get if you used a film camera. However, with a mirrorless camera, we have more options. So today, we present this lens machined individually for the camera, for the Fuji, for the Sony, and for the Leica M. To engineer this to work on a modern digital camera, you need to do two things. These lenses contained shutters. That's why the Minox camera is so small, no focal plane shutter in the back of the camera. Instead, the shutter is in the lens. The first thing we do with the Minox lens after we take it out of the camera is, quite simply, take out the shutter. Then we machine the lens adapter to the lens body by calibrating the infinity focus. So if you go to infinity, you have to make sure that when the lens says infinity, the camera says infinity, otherwise you're in trouble. And finally, you want a nice fleck-free backing to the adapter and the mount to make sure there's no reflections coming in from the side or the back or through the glass. The result, you attach the lens to the camera. There, here's one I prepared earlier. So now you have a focusing lens which focuses, which apertures, and which of course produces results. So there you are, a complete lens history from 1974 to 1994 and beyond. in a very simple, lightweight, discreet package. Thank you for watching.
Paul also told me these lenses come from Minox 35mm cameras, which are they're unable to be repaired anymore. Also on show on the MS Hobby stand was a rather lovely range of both new sports optics and vintage film cameras, including some rare Minox spy cameras.
Our developers not only, it's also one of the finest grains on the market, but retaining full or more film speed, and also the widest tonality possible. You have the most grey tones, and very, very sharp, high acuities.
And as I understand it, it's very highly concentrated, is that right?
Yes.
So what would a small bottle of your Pyro 510 equate to in regular
It will do a minimum of 30 rolls, 35mm film.
Wow, okay.
Extendable up to 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you do anything involved? Do you recommend stand developing at all?
Oh, it's actually designed for stand development.
Oh, awesome.
And rotary as well. Semi-stand times with a stronger dilution of 1 to 100. Around 11 to 18 minutes, depending on for most films.
Okie dokie.
So
And given it's so concentrated and people are going to have it in storage for a long time, does it oxidise the same way as conventional developer?
no, it has a shelf life of 6 to 10 years once opened, as long as you store it somewhere dark and dry.
Dark and dry.
Yeah.
And it's just the one product of Pyro 510, is it?
Yes, it's our first one, and we're having more products coming later on. We release next year. The big bottle tends to be used by labs, so we supply about a fifth from labs in the UK, and quite a few abroad in America and EU, and some in Asia, and it's used as one of the primary developers of high-profile photographers like Ilford Marston and Sanderson, Guy Belling in FRPS, various platinum printers, because as a staining developer, it's optimized for not just silver gelatin printing, but it's also for alternative printing because it blocks UV light.
And if people want to buy it, it's online, is it?
Yeah, so you can buy it direct or from our various distributors in the UK or America, EU, Middle East, and soon Australia. We've just received a request from Australia from some resellers.
Nice. And those companies are all on your website, are they? If you looked up Australia,
Oh
it'll tell you.
yeah. I mean, you've got the website. We have it in the back of a bottle, and there's a voucher here, so people can take it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Great to see a new film developer on the market, new to me at any rate. This company, Rigo, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, seem like lovely people, although I didn't get to chat to them in any great on camera. They do a range of UK made camera straps and other accessories, and a whole range of these rather funky afocal lens attachments, which I believe add creativity to one's images. Patterson, of course, were there with their range of traditional darkroom equipment as well as some lighting equipment, but also they had a tie-in with Ilford to produce a little darkroom starter kit. You can see them stacked up here, so you get all the Patterson developing tank and so forth with the Ilford Simplicity chemistry, which is rather nice. Analogue Wonderland were there, of course. They've become a stalwart in the film or analogue photography era, and they were telling me that their Wonder Lab was doing good business, and whilst there may be some film shortages elsewhere, they certainly seem to have a good amount in stock, which is lovely to see. There were other areas within the Analogue Spotlight, although I didn't get to speak to many of them. Camera repairers. This is a new half-frame 35mm camera, which looks jolly fun. It's a Kickstarter